Massive power cuts in Spain and Portugal have caused chaos, with trains unable to run, phone services out, and tens of millions of people impacted. Now, some power is slowly coming back on in parts of the Iberian Peninsula, but it's unclear yet how long it will take for it to be fully restored, with warnings it may be up to a week. Joining me now to discuss this is Keith Bell, a professor at the University of Strathclyde. Professor Bell, let me just ask first of all, how rare is a mass outage like this?
Fortunately, very rare. It does happen, I think, typically, somewhere in the world, once or twice a year, but that's only somewhere. It's never happened in this country. Touch wood. It's been pretty rare in Europe. The last kind of big disturbance that I can remember was the Italian system going down in 2003. Actually, just a month before that, 50 million people in the northeastern US lost supplies. So it's a rare event. Unfortunately, it's a rare event. System operators do a lot to try, obviously, to avoid this sort of thing happening. There are well-developed procedures developed over decades, sophisticated software tools used to simulate how the system behaves. But they'll be looking at lots and lots of what-if scenarios. If this happened, what would be the consequence? And then they'll adjust things to make sure there are no adverse consequences. When there is a big disturbance somewhere, there will be a lot of lessons learned and shared globally, actually. Although every event is different, and you can't sort of say, okay, well, that would exactly translate to our circumstances. There's always something that you can look at and learn from, and just reflect on your own procedures and systems, and make sure that your things are as robust as you would expect them to be.
Look, Portugal is saying that extreme temperature variations in Spain could have caused the outage in what they're calling a rare atmospheric phenomenon. Have you ever heard of something like that before?
I don't know exactly what they're getting at. It doesn't give us a huge amount of detail about quite what they're referring to. It is certainly true that the weather and changes to weather, or storms, lightning strikes, extreme temperatures, they all affect power systems, and they affect them in different ways. So yeah, we have to wait and see exactly what they're getting at and get a bit more information from them.
You mentioned that the weather has been a cause in the past. What have other causes been of these kind of mass outages?
There can be equipment failures that are compounded by other equipment, automatic things that are supposed to respond to limit the impact of the first thing, that for some reason doesn't work, or doesn't work in the way that was intended. So things can cascade. And this is why I say kind of a power system is a very large, extremely complex, single interconnected system. In a way, it's amazing that it operates as reliably as it does, and that's thanks to, as I say, experience and the design of how it works. So we can never say never in terms of a major outage, and quite often it is a compounding of effects. Multiple things revealed happened at the same time, and so in those cases, you want backup systems to be in place to limit the impact.
So there would have been backup systems in place in Spain, in Portugal, but they seem not to have worked. What could be the reasons behind that?
So I don't know exactly how bad it's got. I mean, some of the reports that I've seen suggest that roughly half, maybe a bit more than half, of demand on the Iberian Peninsula has been disconnected. So it could be that some of these backup systems have worked, and they've been the reason why that's been disconnected. The good news then, I suppose, is the rest of it is still there, and there are still connections into France. So that gives the opportunity then, the potential to restore that demand relatively quickly. It's better to have a partial shutdown than a complete shutdown. That becomes a very complex, difficult process. But even then, system operators would be practicing those procedures, working through the systems and the communications and what have you, to try and get that to happen as quickly as possible. But that's not a simple process. So having some of the system already going can resupply the bits that have been disconnected, and hopefully can do that relatively quickly.
And in the power operator HQs, what will they be doing now? Because this is obviously such a significant disruption for their millions, tens of millions of customers.
Absolutely. So they will be trying to work out, get a reasonable idea of what's happened, because they don't want to reconnect demand and then trigger whatever it was to happen again. They're trying to establish, is this a temporary thing? It's gone away. And they'll be kind of working out, what are the stages, how quickly they can restore different blocks of demand, what generators are available to come on to match that, and kind of getting the matching of generation and demand step by step. Reconnect some, see that everything is stable, then go to the next stage. So, just making sure that all of their monitoring is in place. They'll be kind of updating their software simulation scenarios to see, the situation that they're in now. And as they kind of restore demand, that everything is likely to still be okay. And there's a lot of, they won't have experienced a big loss like this, but there will be a lot of experience sitting there in the control room as well, able to sort of see what the monitoring that's going on and be able to make judgments about at least the first priorities.
And we've had a number of different predictions from a number of hours to a number of days, potentially a week, for these systems to get back up and running. How long can this take, though?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. It depends exactly what's happened. There's the reports that you've seen, that I've seen as well, of what the Portuguese system operator is supposed to have said. I haven't seen the original report. I think the quote that I've seen was talking about the system becoming normalized again across some days. So what they mean by normalized, I'm not quite sure. It might mean that they expect to get demand back and reconnected, but that whatever, if it's down to the weather, maybe they're referring to how quickly the weather is going to be changing and getting to a different sort of weather system coming in and sitting over the peninsula. I don't know. So I've also seen someone else has reported that the Spanish system operator is saying, okay, maybe take up to 10 hours to get everybody back. So hopefully that's more the reality of it, that it's no more than a number of hours, a few hours. So demand will be being restored in the course of that. So it's like, I think, if up to 10 hours means the last few chunks might take as long as 10 hours, but other people getting back in the meantime. And, key energy users in the interim should have backup systems, and those backup systems should be working, such as, hospitals, water treatment works, chemical plant. They should all have their own standby generators, typically diesels, that fortunately they don't have to be used very often, but they're there just in case. And they should have, enough fuel for a good number of hours, maybe up to 24 hours of operation to keep things going. I mean, and in a hospital, it might not be for everything to be able to work for 24 hours. So this is maybe where some services need to be prioritized. And it's important then for the system operator to communicate very well with everybody else about what the situation is, how quickly they expect to be able to get everything back. So that if you are in a situation of being, let's say a hospital manager, and you've got a certain amount of fuel, when can you expect things to be restarted? Do you have to ration things in the meantime or not? So yeah, communication is really important, I think, from the system operator, as well as the engineers doing their job and getting a full understanding of what the situation is right now and how quickly they'll be able to get things back.
Well, Professor Bell, we will see how much longer it takes then to get power online and what conclusion any investigation comes to. But thank you very much for your time. Thank you.